diner was quiet, until a loud slap echoed across the room. A little black boy, no older than 10, sat frozen, his cheek red, eyes wide with shock. The man who hit him smirked. "Watch where you're going, kid," he spat, brushing crumbs from his sleeve. The room went still. Every customer stared, but no one dared to speak. The boy trembled but didn't cry. He just whispered one sentence that made the bully's blood run cold. "My dad won't like this." The bully laughed, loud and cruel. "Oh yeah? And who's your dad supposed to be?" Then the glass door swung open. Heavy boots stepped inside. The air shifted. Every whisper died. The boy's father, sharp suit, cold eyes, power radiating from every step, had arrived. And when their eyes met, the diner turned into a courtroom of fear and silence. The bully froze as the man entered, tall, composed, dressed in an elegant black suit that screamed quiet authority. His name was Mr. Donovan King, known in whispers across the city. A name no one dared to cross. He didn't rush. He didn't speak. He simply walked to his son, placed a gentle hand on the boy's shoulder, and asked softly, "Did he touch you, son?" The diner had gone silent. Even the waitresses stopped mid-step. The boy nodded slowly, tears forming now, not from pain, but from pride that his father was there. The bully tried to stammer out an apology. "Sir, it was a misunderstanding. The kid, he spilled my drink." Mr. King raised his hand slightly, silencing him. His voice was calm, almost whisper quiet, yet it carried through the room like thunder. "You raised your hand on my blood. Over a drink?" He turned to the manager, who was hiding behind the counter. "Did anyone stop him?" The manager shook his head, trembling. Mr. King smiled faintly. "Good, then you'll all watch and remember this." He crouched down to his son's level. "Look at me, Marcus. Power isn't about shouting or striking first. It's about control." Then he stood, eyes locked on the bully. "But sometimes," he said, removing his cufflinks slowly, "it's about teaching lessons the hard way." The bully's breath caught. His face turned pale. The entire diner could feel the storm coming, not of chaos, but of cold, calculated justice. The tension inside the diner grew so thick you could almost hear the heartbeat of every soul in the room. The bully, a tall, cocky teenager in a leather jacket, tried to steady his shaking hands. His arrogance had vanished, replaced by the kind of fear that only truth can bring. Mr. Donovan King slowly removed his coat, folding it neatly on a nearby chair. Every movement was precise, deliberate. He didn't need to yell. His silence alone commanded obedience. "Apologize to my son," he said softly, his voice smooth as steel. The bully hesitated. "I'm sorry, sir." Mr. King's sharp eyes narrowed. "Not to me." The boy looked at Marcus, who stood still, clutching the side of his cheek where the slap had landed. The bully's voice cracked. "I'm sorry, kid." Marcus didn't respond. His father nodded slightly. "That's not enough. You don't hit a child because of his skin. You don't humiliate the innocent because you think you're stronger." The bully's friends, who had been laughing minutes earlier, were now frozen, pale as ghosts. Mr. King slowly stepped closer, his presence towering. "Do you even know who I am?" he asked. The bully shook his head nervously. Mr. King smiled faintly, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Good, then let me remind you." He reached into his inner pocket, pulling out a black card, embossed with a gold lion's head. The diner manager gasped audibly. That card belonged only to one man, the head of the city's most powerful business syndicate and rumored underground empire. Whispers spread through the room like wildfire. "That's him. Donovan King, the one who owns half the city." The bully's face drained of color. His knees trembled. "Sir, please. I didn't know." Mr. King's calm tone cut through his plea like a blade. "You didn't care to know. You saw a young black boy, and you thought that made him easy to target. He stepped even closer until he stood right before the trembling teenager. But today, you've just learned the most important rule of power. Respect is not earned through fear. It's demanded by truth. Mr. King then turned to the diner owner. You allowed this to happen in your place. Consider this your last day in business. The owner fell to his knees, begging. Please, Mr. King, I didn't... Silence, Mr. King said. If you can't protect the weak, you don't deserve to serve the strong. He gently turned to his son again. Marcus, justice isn't about revenge, but sometimes the world only understands one language: consequences. The entire diner sat in absolute silence. Every pair of eyes watched as this calm, powerful man taught them that true authority doesn't scream, it acts. The diner door swung open, bang, and in walked two men in black suits. Their presence alone shifted the air. Every conversation stopped. The sound of polished shoes against tile echoed like thunder. One of them leaned close to Mr. King and whispered, "Sir, the car's ready. The mayor's office just called. They heard what happened." The bully looked between them in disbelief. "To the mayor?" he stammered. Mr. King turned to face the terrified teen, his expression calm but unyielding. "You thought you could slap my son and walk away," he said quietly, "but every action echoes. And yours just reached the top." He pulled out his phone, pressed a single button, and within seconds, flashing lights filled the parking lot. Police officers poured in, not to arrest Mr. King, but to arrest the bully. "Assault on a minor," one officer said coldly. "We saw the footage. It's all over the diner's cameras." The bully's knees buckled. His friends backed away, faces pale with guilt. As the officers cuffed him, Mr. King spoke one final time, his voice like a verdict from heaven. "Remember this, boy," he said. "You didn't just strike my son. You struck the child of the man who protects this city from the shadows." The crowd whispered, realization dawning. Donovan King wasn't just a businessman or a rumor. He was the silent protector, the man whose influence reached every law, every power, every corner of justice. He bent slightly, placing a gentle hand on Marcus's shoulder. "You see, son," he said softly, "real power doesn't shout. It teaches." As the police led the bully away, the diner erupted in silence, a silence heavier than fear itself. If you believe truth always wins, write justice in the comments. Days later, the same diner buzzed again, but this time with whispers of respect. The booth where Marcus once sat in silence now felt like sacred ground. People nodded at him, offering warm smiles instead of judgmental stares. The owner of the diner walked over, wiping her eyes. "Marcus, I'm sorry, sweetheart. None of us should have let that happen." Marcus smiled gently. "It's okay, ma'am. My dad always says, forgiveness isn't weakness, it's power." At that moment, the door opened again. Mr. King stepped in, dressed simply, no bodyguards this time. He sat beside his son, proud yet humble. "You handled yourself like a man, son. You didn't let anger control you, you let dignity lead." The entire diner stood quietly as father and son shared breakfast. The same table that once witnessed hate now overflowed with peace. Outside, the bully's family was seen doing community service under police supervision. Justice had been served, but compassion had triumphed. Marcus looked out the window and whispered, "Dad, I just wanted them to see we're not what they think we are." Mr. King smiled softly. "And now they never will again." If you believe dignity is the strongest weapon, write justice in the comments.